Hello everybody and welcome to our first game of the semi-finals World Championship 2019. We have on our first map today, playing as the USF on the right side of Kholodny Firma, it is going to be VonAsten.
And playing from the left side, the west side, it is Noggano, the Russian heavyweight. This guy hails from the northern reaches of Russia, but he comes down from those forests. And when he plays Company of Heroes, Dan, he is an unstoppable force. But in this case, you could say he's going to meet the immovable objects in the Danish, I want to say prodigy, but he's actually gotten quite, he's a more of an advanced player these days, a bit more mature. We used to see him as this young guy that was kind of challenging the old guard, but he's been around for a little while now, and this year he won his first tournament. And he's now looking to cement himself and win a big tournament, a major, because that's exactly what this is, Dan. These kind of tournaments only come around once a year. World Championship 2019 is a once-a-year opportunity, but quite frankly, because these players, the amount of time you have to put in, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to prove yourself.
Absolutely. VonAsten has just come strength to strength in the last year. We just saw amazing games through Grand Championship Series. And what a great match this is going to be against Noggano, just one of the top best players out of both games in the game's franchise. It's a huge map. But let's talk a little bit about the start of this game. VonAsten has already dived in with a commander choice, very popular in this tournament. Mechanized Company. We already see that fast WC51 on the field. And this has been a great strategy so far.
It is. Very Love Nest-esque barbed wire usage as well. Prioritizing this munitions point, a lot of Western Axis players tend to do this. WC51 is going to try and cause issues, going to try and flank around the sides and cause constant harassment problems. It's just the standard 2 riflemen to help it out, and we've got 3 Foch Grenadiers from Noggano also locking in his commander. We've got Grand Offensive Doctrine, which of course gives the Tiger Tank in the late game. We've got plenty of goodies to play with in the earlier on, and we may even see a Panzer Fusilier squad to help accompany these Foch Grenadiers into their DPS journey.
WC51 here. He's so powerful in the early game. Volks Grenadiers not having access to that Faust. Grand Offensive can help with that, of course, if he does want to bring out some Fusiliers, but right at the start, WC51 very dominant. Definitely one of the reasons why this
who's going to get to the cover first? It's marginally the Foch Grenadiers, so they get a little bit more DPS in, and you see the rifle's health bar drops. This is the kind of stuff you want to be watching if you're a new to intermediate player. Those microseconds, they all matter, Dan. And you've seen that rifleman, he's also getting flanked from the south, but certainly pushes the advantage for Noggano. He's also not having a great time, though, with his Pioneers. WC51 can't do any DPS quite yet, doesn't have its machine gun.
This is really sneaky from Noggano. Actually, in the early game, his map control has been really good. He's got some really great flanks off on VonAsten. We're also seeing 2 quite heavy cavalry retreats from the riflemen.
Saw why he had to do that, though. He's low health on the Stern Pioneers, and even if they sprung an ambush, they just dropped like flies immediately and were forced away. But here comes the cavalry. Just as the WC51 pops its machine gun, it gets obliterated from those Core 98K Mausers.
It's in a bit of a varied build here from VonAsten. Hasn't elected to go for the echelons in the WC51 at the start.
What's happening with those echelons? They think they're commando or something. They did well. Now they're in a tricky spot. The lieutenant should save the day, and indeed he does, and his compadres.
Noggano looks very, very strong at the start of this game. And a lot of people feel that USF is actually one of the best starting game factions because of the damage output of the riflemen, the fact that they're getting the extra squads from the lieutenant. We see the cavalry rifleman here as well. It's quite a big start game loadout for VonAsten, but he hasn't been able to push the ground yet. Maybe things are about to change. He already knows Noggano's doctrine thanks to the Panzer Fusiliers being on the field.
It certainly does. The great thing about Kholodny Firma Summer, it's all about that infantry combat, but if there's one faction out of the 2 Axis factions that can go toe-to-toe with the USF, it is indeed the OKW. WC51 backs up the riflemen as they go for the cut-off maneuver. VonAsten's battling back strong, trying to beat the demons, and when Noggano beat him in an early game confrontation in the GCS qualifying rounds, he threw in the towel in the first 12 minutes, and he may have that at the back of his mind. VonAsten's one of those guys, Dan, he wants everything to go his way, and if everything does go his way, of course, he's a steamroller. But sometimes that train can go off the tracks, and he has to be careful about that and keep his temperament this time round, and hopefully his maturing outlook on the game can help him with that.
He's played some great map strategy so far. I think he's got successful decap of all of the resources on the right-hand side, which is a beautiful comeback from VonAsten. He lost a lot of territory in the early game and is just picking that back up. Now he's got to waste a lot of time on the front lines and allow his other units to capture the territory points and try to get his own lead in.
But he's got the cutoff right now, hasn't he? He's anchoring for the cutoff. He's got riflemen on the south tip of the Panzer Fusiliers with a lot of DPS behind that truck right now. More Volksgrenadiers coming to back them up. They're trying to push VonAsten off. He's stealing fuel. He's stealing time. His WC-51 in danger, though, and gets taken out thanks to the two blaring Sturmgewehrs of the Sturm Pioneers. Where there's a win, there's a loss, and VonAsten's probably happy with the fact he's denied fuel, but he can't afford himself to get killed on retreat there. Salvage the fuel. The riflemen do get away. He does have a lot of the map, but he lost that WC-51. How much munitions and fuel was that, Dan? There we go, 30 fuel, 200 munitions. That's for the new players amongst us, and that has gone down. Did do a little bit of work, did help out the game, but it did struggle. However, here comes the Stuart.
For a second there, he actually went back for the WC-51, but cancelled that. And it's a shame, really. The WC-51 scales really well at the moment. Actually, the ability to like mobile mine sweep or just have the echelons in there with some kind of anti-tank, beautiful. With the abilities it gets, kind of like the off-map artillery, really useful, and a real shame on a map like this to use the WC.
To lose it, indeed. Here we go. The riflemen have been blindsided by a Volksgrenadier. There is another squad coming just to the west of the pitch here. Elsewhere, we now see Sturm Pioneer laying a mine. He's actually susceptible to increased received accuracy in the laying stage.
I don't know if he saw that.
He got away in time, though, but he did lose a lot of health. Meanwhile, that rifle that was blindsided by another Volksgrenadier just off screen as well, so they pincer attacked him and pushed him away. Here comes the light tank.
Yep, Stuart, really good choice. I think we normally see it timed with the ambulance, but because of the way this game has been going at the start for VonAsten, there isn't healing in his base at all yet. He's about to be met by the Panzer II Lukes from the OKW, so Stuart versus Luke's engagement, I think, looking good for VonAsten, but he's just lost so much territory so far.
A tale as old as time. It's the Stuart versus the Panzer II Lukes, Daniel. Every single game, seemingly, at a high level. I mean, to be fair, this tournament actually has had a lot of Wehrmacht, a lot of Soviets played, so I say that I'm being a little bit cheeky about the balance, but it does seem we see Stuart and Panzer II kind of hit in so many games at exactly the same time. They're like sparring partners that just like meet each other every day in the gym, you know.
Well, there's two things you can do. You can either throw some curveballs, or you can play something that's very popular and very strong very well. And that's what these two great players are going to be doing very respectfully to each other at the moment. Stuart is coming up to give some support to the lieutenant in the center.
Stuart can take the Lukes out. I mean, it's probably takes it out in just over 50% of engagements, I would say. But it's all about the Panzerfaust, and in this case, the anti-tank grenade of the Panzer Fusiliers if they're in position to help out their compadres. Lieutenant also has the bazooka, worth noting, and we've got a little bit of a standoff now in the centre. A lot of capping on the peripheries as well, but the centre's where it's all at. All these units are lined up, and I think, Dan, that shows you the high stakes involved. Just to emphasise, this tournament is for $20,000. The winner will get 10,000 of those highly prized US dollars, and let's have a look at the stats as we unfold.
It has been a great start game for VonAsten, to be honest. We can see that he's on the back foot in terms of the manpower that he's lost already so far. This is nice from Noggano. You can see he's actually mining off perhaps where the Stuart might come down from the center, but VonAsten's been smart here and caught him off guard.
He tried to go for an anti-tank rifle grenade, which made the Lukes think there's something bigger coming. Indeed there was, but the Stuart's falling into a trap, and there it is, a damaged engine. Will the Lukes target it now? Has he got infantry backing up?
That's a beautiful mine. I don't think there's anything around for it unless he wants to try and Faust with the Volksgrenadiers. They are not going to be able to get there in time. Perhaps not the mine that Noggano was looking for, though.
Not the mine we're looking for. Indeed. As the riflemen push up and take the cutoff. Oh, that's a very aggressive. He jumped straight back in. Quick, back in the tank, back in the tank.
Well, that was actually, of course, when they're repairing, taking extra damage is a really smart move there. I'm surprised that VonAsten hopped out there to repair. He's now got low health, and another Faust from the Volksgrenadiers would finish this. Recharge time, only 5 seconds.
Oh, here come the boys, though. The cavalry's coming down. Will they stop it? Yes, they will. The Volksgrenadiers have repositioned for the cutoff.
I honestly thought Noggano possibly could have done more with that.
He would have sacrificed the squad, though, probably. It's a negative cover road. Here comes the Puma. We are Brits, but we do pronounce it that way because it is a German armoured car, and that's only right.
It's only fair.
It is indeed. Lieutenant does have decreased anti-infantry DPS, but the 3 remaining models are doing a good job of it. Meanwhile, Rifleman pushed away by that dastardly Lux. Said that quite aggressively, I thought.
I have to say, at this stage, 10 minutes into the game, and it is looking a bit dicey for VonAsten. He hasn't had early game control on this map. He's been a little bit behind in the resources, already lost a vehicle which may have benefited him, the capping on the outsides of this map, very mobile. Where do we see him going from here?
I'll tell you what might be in the back of his mind as well is Isildur in the quarterfinal, who, by the way, is VonAsten's not only sparring partner in scrims, but also his 2 versus 2 partner, got dispatched by Noggano in under half an hour for 3 games. There was 2 towel throws. It was crazy. So, you know, VonAsten maybe is looking at Noggano as a bit of a monster at the moment, so there may be a little bit of trepidation in his play. That said, he's rallying back.
Yeah, I mean, actually, every time VonAsten's been caught in this situation, he has come back onto the map quite well. There seems to be that kind of like to and fro going on, but it's well managed.
Nice
by
grenade
Noggano.
dodge there. He pushed forward, got the Thompsons behind the point, and now the Focus Grenadiers have to run the gauntlet, but they're going to be safe. A lot of health on each of those soldiers in the squad.
I'm not sure if the Puma's revealed itself there against the Stuart. And
health bar of the Stuart would say that it had. Anti-tank grenade probably coming in. There it is. Just a little bit of damaged engine. Dicing with death. North side, by the way, VonAsten trying to break out of the castle, but he runs into a machine gun. He does get the flank off with a lowly rear echelon squad. Just don't tell them I said that.
maximum value for that squad there, managing to force away the.
So he could have just tanked that damage
MG30.
easily.
He could have sat there. Pretty sure the crew could have dealt with the echelons. But
it's worth noting, by the way, we've got thousands more viewers than we usually would have. We may have upwards of 10,000 viewers at 6 o'clock later today, which is quite exciting. So we might talk about a few of the things that make this game great. One thing to consider, though, it has MOBA-esque decision making on a multiple squad front. You have like about 10 different units to control, each with their own attributes and values and abilities, and you have to take so much into account. It's an FPS engine. Oh, what was that? Oh, the icon flew ahead. I thought it was a UFO. Incredibly, tremendously impressive game to play at this level, isn't it, Dan?
It is. It's a beautiful game. Has great mechanics. There's tons of things you can do, tons of variety that you can play, something for everybody in terms of play style, and it's just great to see the best of the best play. When you see them play these different commanders, when you see them like utilize everything the game has to offer, it's beautiful.
It really is. We've got another 50 cal coming out for VonAsten, just trying to shore up his defences now, because he feels a little bit overly plundered at the moment. He's got his territories and they're going into them. Oh, Panzer Fusiliers have to... Nice retreat. He did see it a little bit late, but he got out of there in time. Stuart, how many kills on that? Only 2. It's done a lot of health damage. Has gotten to Veteran C1, giving it that extra ability. More Thompson's action.
I've been very worried at this point about VonAsten's teching. From what I can see, I don't think he's gone into the major yet. He doesn't really have many options here right now. He's going to fall behind, especially if we see Noggano reach up to tier 3.
I think he just needs the manpower, but then he'll be waiting for 110 fuel after the 120 for the major. He'll need to get the Sherman out most likely, because as you say, he has been heavily put behind. What people don't realise, maybe veterans are coming here as one, it's not necessarily fuel point control in coming here as 2, it's overall map control, because of course all of the points are standard territory points, they all add up, 3 fuel each. And Noggano's been winning on that front for the majority of the game. Lieutenant's in danger, Sturmgewehrs chase him. Nope, they decide to do a pirouette instead. There we go.
He's trying to get that lieutenant into the church for the additional sight to land the bazooka on any of these light vehicles, but just having the Sturm Pioneers there harassing any units that enter the church, it's just doing so much protection work. It's just allowing the light vehicles to control all areas of the map against the Stuart and infantry build from VonAsten.
Oh, takes out the 50 cal there. Will he be able to take it with the Panzer Fusilier? Yes, he will. There are no blue dots on the minimap in the bottom left. And there you go, taken back. We have 7,000 viewers on Steam. This, of course, is helping to market that this game is free to keep forever. Get it and do not look back. May have its quirks, let's say, but we're still playing it years on, and we all think it's one of the best computer games ever made, quite frankly.
I think VonAsten there just missed being able to retarget onto the Volksgrenadiers on the right, and I think they've actually managed to hide. That is such a close call there. Volksgrenadiers are going to be able to flank that MG. Now VonAsten is expecting it, but of course the green cover from earlier means these Volksgrenadiers are going to be able to deal with the 50 cal from the front and get the incendiary grenade off. Lukes comes in to help finish off.
Double DPS there, flame damage, and the autocannon. Stuart comes into view. Shields for him a little bit late. Where were you when I needed you? Meanwhile, rear echelon's been pushed away. VonAsten's had good control, but Noggano's control's increasing. He's now deploying the Schwer Panzer headquarters in the northwest quadrant. Familiar place for OKW players. It's always nice, Dan, when you can kind of sympathise with these elite behemoths of the game. I would also put my truck there. I'm 1% as good as they are.
I'd question where you learnt that from. Clearly from making these casts. So there we go. Tier 4 from OKW is up. So Noggano, I think he knows he's got such a huge resource lead here. So instead of just waiting out for that Tiger, maybe he wants to get something else a bit more versatile. Go in with all these light vehicles and kind of do the damage. Mobility, I think, has been Noggano's friend in the game so far. VonAsten hasn't managed the kind of outsides of the map so well.
I think mobility in Kona Heroes can be defined as moving very quickly and then standing very still in the right area. And his mobility in that sense has been excellent. He's been getting to cover points way before VonAsten. He's been beating him to the punch, to steal a boxing phrase, meaning his timing has just been slightly superior, and all of these little micro-transgressions they have accumulated now, which means, to use an RTS term, he's had better control throughout this only 17-minute match so far.
Even the way he plays here, instead of going to the unit, he's ready for these units to retreat on the cut-off path. We'll see if he drops an incendiary as well. I think that would be quite interesting. Noggano, of course, trying to make use of the time. We'll also be capping the VP. And this is the kind of thing that will make you lose squads. VonAsten's got to be really, really careful sending lone models, especially when there's so much action going on elsewhere. He's desperate for VPs, just coming up to 250 VPs dropped already. He's already starting to throw the bodies in.
And exactly, the bodies are hitting the floor at the moment. He's had to go for the M1AT gun instead of teching for the Major. That just shows he's in a slightly weakened position. Noggano, of course, has gone for both vehicles from the mechanised regimental headquarters, so he's not exactly storming his way forward to get into Panzer IV, but he's got 75 fuel and counting, and he should have the Tier 4 teched with its cannon now, Dan. Let me just check that.
Yes, that was
Panzer Authority has been requisitioned. He's got his purchase order GRN, and it's all going to be delivered. Lead time of roughly... Sorry, I thought I was at work for a moment. What's happening? Here we go.
Project management. Never leaves you. Never leaves you.
That's it. The OKW Gantt chart. Luke's, Puma, Panzer IV, win. It used to be Command Panther, but fortunately that got nerfed, thanks to the great balancing the community and Relic continue to do to this day. Puma putting the pressure down. M1's in good position, though.
Yeah, that was a bit of a weird way to go into that engagement. The Stuart rear armor facing forwards. Worth noting, of course, rear armor, you'll take a lot more damaging hits on rear armor. And having to support the AT gun now, this is crucial. This is one of the best counters to light vehicles in the game, the USF AT gun. And he's just got to get it in the right place. Kolodny is not a place with wide open territory. There's a lot of narrow areas we can see here with the line of sight. It's not going to be easy to get those light vehicles.
That's more like a line of blindness, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's like a horse with the blinkers on, you know. You can just see a small area. That's most of Kolodny if you're a support weapon, to be honest. Here we go. Oh, Stern Pioneer's in a bit of a difficult spot here. Stuart's also giving harassment. VonAsten sprung a bit of a trap. 3 models remaining. 2 soldiers survive. 1 Soldaten remains standing. They're still targeting him down. The Puma's blocking his way.
He popped
smoke. He survives. Great move by Noggano.
Yeah, that is professional play from Noggano. There's a very small chance something might happen here, but the Stern Pioneers, I'm pretty sure, are clear to get back to base. That is smart play.
I thought he was blocking, but then, of course, well, he's much better at this game than we are. That was really cool.
Yeah, it's always good to see players making use of all the tools in the game. Line of sight, of course, being so important. The smoke being able to block any of those last shots. Look at the flanking from
Nice.
Noggano. He's taking deep lines through the center to try and harass the AT gun.
VonAsten's cut off now, Dan. A lot of these squads have low health as well. He's got to be careful. He's got to be very careful. M1's down. Stuart's got its rear armor facing north, but that Foch Grenadier, the heroic Foch Grenadier, dies.
That was a full squad wipe, and Noggano's got to be careful not to take too many of those. He's got a great game, but it's not a one game for sure just yet. Infantry now trying to push the light vehicles.
That rifleman's low, very low. He'll survive though, because the Foch Grenadier's no longer alive.
You can kind of smell the desperation from VonAsten. He's making good plays, no doubt about that, but he's really having to dive in deep now to try and get anything from Noggano.
I think he handled himself well under pressure there. There was a lot of pressure exerted upon him, and it looks like he's going to survive. Let's check the squad. Should be fine. Yeah, just watch the retreat on the top left tile there. He's both survived back to base, and the lieutenant's a big retreat path. Lieutenant's fine, but the Stuart might not be. Puma gets a big shot and misses. M1's been recrewed and is in position. What a great game we're seeing. We've seen such great counterplay in the south half of Holodny Firma.
Yeah, you realise one small mistake is you're going to decide this game very quickly. That move alone, just having the M1 AT gun there, it was so crucial. Losing the Stuart.
What are the vehicle crew doing? Did he just accidentally retreat the vehicle crew?
Yes, I think he did.
Oh my god! Hopefully, for VonAsten's sake, Noggano doesn't see this.
We talk about that one decision that decides the game.
He's swapping, he's swapping. Is he? No, they've got bazookas. There's no way he intended to do this. This is just a... They happen to have a rear echelon squad nearby. They're the one with the bazooka. What could be cool later on, though, is if they disembark to kill the Puma. That would be cool.
That would be amazing.
That would be one of those found strategies that you wouldn't expect, an emergent strategy.
I think what's working here for VonAsten is actually just... I mean, he hasn't got many options anyway, but he's just trying to attack the map in clumps, try and jump on the VP, and when he does, and he can get enough manpower to take down squads and cause some serious damage. Great grenade from the Panzer Fusiliers.
Oh, that's great. That initial damage. We've also had a grenade there. That's a stun grenade, but they're going to be okay. M1's putting into position as well. Captain has to retreat. Also got a little bit of action in the north. Just want to have a quick 1 second look at that. Yep, nothing. Just keeping the position with the machine gun, but that makes me think of something bigger. If you look at the victory point counts, oh boy, VonAsten is not in a good position right now. Noggano is controlling that northern victory point and sitting on it.
I think game one's going to be a really good taster for VonAsten of what's coming. Noggano is no easy player to beat. That's been shown time and time again. But actually, to be fair to VonAsten in the past, it's maybe taken him a game to get warmed up and into things, to suss out his opponent. He's got 5 games potentially to do so.
With some good aggression. A little bit scared because he's got a damaged engine. Mortar's been pushed out. This will be to use the smoke to try and get that central victory point, because he is starting to suffer now. Now, for those that may not have seen it, the Rakettenwerfer's had a hell of a lot of changes. It's now a 5-man crew. It can no longer move whilst it's in cloak mode. In fact, it only gains cloak at Veterancy 1. It can pirouette on cloak, but the fact that it's a 5-man crew and the fact that it has bigger range, look at that range now. It could never have done that before. It makes it such a better versatile AT gun. One of the many changes the game has seen in the past couple of years.
It's finally worth stealing, Wendy Crew.
Yes! Well, it's no longer like, you know, play past the Rakettenwerfer. Sometimes you saw it exchange hands like 8 times in a game. A little bit of Stuka smoke.
Just to cut off the vision for the 50 cal. Very nice. Panzer Fusiliers can't cap, of course, with the echelon still in the point. And similar thing being used.
Yes, indeed. A little bit of mortar smoke there. Mortar's been pushed up really far. It is a very good mortar for utility, but it has a very shallow range, does the USF mortar. There you go, using that smoke to get a victory point back. That's exactly what we expected. Oh, 64 tons of rolling thunder. You hear it from the periphery of the map, and it harkens the big cat, the tiger tank. Panzerkampfwagen 6 is on the battlefield.
That is a serious thing to have on the field right now against VonAsten's light Stuart tank.
no M1 AT gun. At the exact wrong moment he loses that means the Tiger could push straight in as the rear echelon also dies with its bazookas, by the way. No bazookas dropped, no AT for VonAsten. This is the game ender.
GG, I don't think he could do anything at that point. First game goes to Noggano.
ist unterwegs. Ziel erkannt. Abwurfzone markiert.
Well, we are back after a very interesting game one between VonAsten and Noggano. And VonAsten just not really being able to find his feet there. Really started in the early game, didn't get any better. How do we define that?
I've been using so many boxing analogies in my casting recently because I've been watching a lot of that sport. It's a brutal sport. I know why people don't like it, but it's very good for this is 1v1 combat, and it's very good for understanding the psychology of two people against one another. Tennis is similar, chess, blah blah blah, but boxing I've been watching a lot of. There are levels in that sport, and sometimes you feel it doesn't matter how much somebody's putting into something. There's kind of a level there. And Noggano right now is playing at a different level to VonAsten. Everything he is doing is slightly sharper. You can't like point out two things. You can point out 30. And it's all of those slight differences that are adding up, and the accumulative factor VonAsten can't handle right now. So he needs to, sounds brutal, up his game.
Yeah, definitely. Noggano, I think, we didn't give Noggano enough credit there for how well he was playing consistently.
Yeah.
And all over the map, every engagement was managed very well. We only saw that one Volksgrenadier wipe, I think, on the...
Did a lot of damage, though, you know.
Yeah, but Noggano, we know Noggano is great. We know that Noggano has serious potential to win this. Like you say, game two, going to be a change-up in factions, and maybe we'll see VonAsten playing as Axis with a little bit more vigor.
I hope so. I do know he's got it in his locker. I just know that he's got he's got a lot in the tank to give. Hopefully he can access that, and we see it in the game too. So I believe what we're going to do now is we're going to show a little bit of a trailer just to show off the game to all you guys on Steam that have seen possibly for the first time, and maybe on Twitch as well. It is free weekend. There's a hell of a lot.
It is, yeah. Free till 6 p.m. tomorrow.
That's a lot of time.
It is, yeah. So get the game now. You'll get to keep it forever. And who wouldn't do that, please?
And you can offer yourself up to the players that have been playing for a very long time, and they can teach you how to how to play in a lovely arrangement. But no, this game isn't just about brutal 1v1 combat. It has so much to offer. You've got the campaign, which is incredibly fun. You've got Ardennes Assault, which is a great kind of campaign map feel to it. And also, if you sign up to the Relic newsletter, you can get, I believe it's the Southern Fronts DLC, or you get some cool DLC mission pack for free.
Victory at Stalingrad.
Is that it? It's one of those. They're all pretty cool, though, aren't they? And there's one other thing that all DLC is 75% off.
Yep, until the 26th.
Oh, God.
There's a lot to say. But yeah, it's an interesting time. Just to say, like, the Company of Heroes 2 is just going from strength to strength at the moment.
How is this possible? It should have been dead like 4 years ago, but this game is stronger now.
It is. It is getting better. And I think actually, like most good RTSs, more people just keep coming in. And that's exactly what's going to happen now. It is the best time to get involved. Go and get the game. Watch this amazing tournament as it comes into the rest of the semi-finals and the finals. And just enjoy it. You know, see the best and learn to play that way. We need to have 100,000 amazing players in these tournaments. It's just so much fun.
Certainly watching. It's always good to have so many people eyeballs on the product and certain. So what's going to happen now, by the way, is we're going to have Ed 80Hz helping Dan and I cast over this weekend. He's going to be casting some of the games in the build up to the grand final. So I'm going to sub out now. We're going to bring on mighty third caster, the third man in the room, Ed 80Hz. And Ed's his brother's studio as well, which is pretty cool. Just to give a shout out, it's a great production quality. Thanks for Relic for organising that.